Wycombe Wanderers Show.
Welcome along to, I suppose, what you could call extra time of the Wycombe Wanderers Show season, because I guess officially the season's finished.
I think you'd call it a very special edition, where we're going to be very, very excited about the fact that we got to Wembley.
This is very
Goodness
exciting.
me. It doesn't, obviously it doesn't happen every day. Although with Wycombe Wanderers, actually, it's becoming quite a regular occurrence.
Imagine if it happened every day.
Well, yes, that's true. It'd be like Christmas, wouldn't it? Wouldn't be quite the same. But even so, goodness me, we overcame MK.
Such a lot seems to have happened since we were last on, doesn't it?
I think if we were all really, really honest, actually, I don't know how many of us really expected that was going to happen, particularly after they tonked Plymouth 5-0 in that game just before. But we did it.
Yes, because on Thursday, we the home leg, we sort of quashed them, or quelled it, and then the other on Sunday.
But even so, I mean, the 2-0 was great. But as Liverpool proved against Villarreal in that semi-final, 2-0 is not always a very safe scoreline. And the fact that MK had a player sent off, obviously, at Adams Park, and you were thinking, wonder if we should have capitalised a little bit more rather than just getting the goal from Sam Vokes to make it 2-0. And of course, and everybody then saying, well, if whoever gets the first goal at Stadium MK, that's going to be the crucial thing. And they went and got it, and then it was just like, oh, goodness me, what a nervous game. I'm still recovering now.
Well, we'll hear more from Bob, who was at, as I say, the Milton Keynes branch.
Stadium, yes.
I was going to say bowl, that's a different venue entirely. But we'll also hear from manager Gareth Ainsworth. We'll catch up with his assistant Richard Dobson, and hear from man of the match on Sunday night, David Stockdale, as well.
Stocko.
Absolutely. Also, we'll get the thoughts of Jack Grimmer a bit later on as well. Defender, of course.
Grimmer.
Yeah, everyone's got a chant, haven't they?
They have, yes.
Including
Even the Coohigs. The Coohigs had a chant on Sunday, which I hadn't seen before. There were people chanting Coohig, Coohig when Pete and Rob were approaching the crowd at the end.
Someone else who's got a chant, of course, is Sam Wood.
Yes.
Which, as touched on, is also borrowed by Sam.
I was just that's exactly what I was going to say. I always feel a bit bad for players who had a chant and then new players get that chant as well. It's almost as if you've got a used chant.
This used to be mine.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas, again, another word about Ryan Tafazoli's chants. He is the player with the best chants. The fact that the fans have now adapted Lady Gaga's Paparazzi into a version of Tafazoli is a thing of beauty.
Absolutely. I will also hear from Matt Cecil as well from the club on ticket news for the final.
Cecil. They weren't actually chanting that, sorry, Matt.
No, but it might
even though it was very obvious that he was there on the pitch on Sunday night.
Yes, so first of all then, briefly, the first leg. What
a fantastic evening that was.
Oh, brilliant.
It was what a brilliant atmosphere, and also we did that all on our own. We didn't need our friends from Spain. Our friends from Spain are always very welcome, but it was better than the Plymouth Argyle atmosphere. It was absolutely wonderful last Thursday night. Absolutely, kudos to everybody who was there, because all three stands were chanting, were loud. It wasn't just the Valley Terrace. It was brilliant. It was such a good night.
One of those games that you can say you were at.
Indeed, it really was, wasn't it? One of those games that you can say that you were at. And the team, I thought, performed absolutely brilliantly. Really, really good, solid display. And obviously, setting us up then for the second leg and what was to come.
Absolutely. Manager Gareth Ainsworth, as you can expect, very pleased afterwards when he spoke to Phil.
The book was written last time we got promoted, and it's well known that I do sit down in the afternoons and write these speeches that I try and give the boys some belief and some emotion into them about why they will win this game and how they can win this game. And again, I did one before the game. It stays between us. But I'm glad to say a couple of things that came into the game that they needed they needed from this afternoon. And I just think that the boys themselves they're just an amazing group. The players are awesome, and this place was absolutely bouncing. It was the best I've ever seen it, it really was. And can I just say that thank you to all fans today for the behaviour. It was brilliant. It was a real football occasion. That's what we wanted, There's no room for any rubbish or any abuse or stuff like that in football. Both sets of fans, they were awesome. Real good footballing occasion. It's going to be the same on Sunday, I'm pretty sure. And the best team over two legs will go to Wembley.
And the best team over two legs is going to Wembley.
And they are indeed. And I've heard a lot said since Sunday about the way that we played on Sunday night. And you just think, I'm sorry, we won the game. Football, you win by scoring more goals than the opposition. If you want a sport that has, say, artistic merit, then go and watch ice skating, because football, that's the deal. And yes, okay, MK were better than us on Sunday, but the way that we defended, the way that David Stockdale ensured that actually after that first goal, and it wasn't really much of a goal, it looked more like a header where he was trying to cross head it across the goal, and he headed it a bit wrong and it managed to go in. After that, weren't we just absolutely wonderful? As a footballing spectacle, I thought it was brilliant. Just in the, you could see exactly what was going on. It was MK desperate to score a goal and Wycombe just denying them at every opportunity.
And so many of the team playing such a key part as well.
Just, everybody. I mean, Joe Jacobson and that tackle, just absolutely incredible. And Jacobson, one of those players that so many people, if we're having a little bit of a bad spell, we'll say sort of things like, I'm beginning to think JJ's a bit past it and whatever. And every time he comes back and proves why he should be in the team, and none more so than on Sunday. That tackle was it again. If that had happened, if a Manchester City player had done that, we would have heard about it for the rest of the week. But because it's in the League One playoff semi-final, then it doesn't really get mentioned.
Just briefly, to do things chronologically before we leave Thursday behind as well.
Of course.
Because of our...
we've plugged him, so we better play him.
Yes, our pre-match build-up, of course, from Adams Park, a number of guests, including Pete Kewick, who we must say a very big hello to.
Hello, Pete.
Turns out he's a fan of the show.
Oh, the podcast on Thursday nights. A lot of times I try to listen to it live on the radio, but sometimes I got to listen to the podcast. So we really appreciate
you know
support.
what? We've enjoyed it. Actually, it's been a lot of fun doing this.
It really has.
We hope we can go through next season and do more of this. It's been great. But listen, thank you for your support as always. There we go. Pete Kewick, everybody. Thank you. Round of applause. Very good indeed.
Rob and Luke and Sally, of course, and Martin have been a key part of home game build-ups.
They very much have. And we're looking forward to bringing the build-up to the Sunderland game a week on Saturday. More details will be coming out on Wycombe Sound during the next week and a half.
Oh, good plug.
Yes.
Also, let's return then to Sunday. And ahead of the game, we'd already heard that the supporters were somewhat separated.
And it sounded ridiculous when we heard about it. And actually, when you saw where we were, it was just the most crazy thing. I mean, Stadium MK, anyway, is the strangest stadium in that it's been there now for quite a long time. And every time we visit, it still feels like it's half finished. There's still bits that actually haven't got seats. And I know that the MK fans will say, this is because there's going to be a concert during the summer. I think it's My Chemical Romance are performing at Stadium MK, and for some reason that's the reason why we were on the upper tier. But I think that was just an excuse, because there's going to be concerts at lots of football stadiums,
including Wembley
and Spurs, because I've got tickets for a concert at Spurs, and they haven't started moving the away fans because of that. So let's face it, that was just an excuse. It was absolutely ridiculous as well that we then had sort of like what amounted to about 10 seats between the two blocks, and we weren't allowed to cross between those two blocks. So if you went in, say, door 1 or door 3, because those were the two doors that we entered in, and you had a friend in the other side and you wanted to go and see them, you weren't allowed. And I don't know. The whole thing was just a bit of a joke. But as Gareth says, I think actually it seriously backfired on them, because actually us in that top tier, the acoustics were rather wonderful and meant that actually that we could be heard, and we were loud and we were proud for the whole 90 minutes. It was a fantastic atmosphere, a fantastic effort by all the Wycombe fans, and we didn't really hear that much, to be honest, from the MK fans. I appreciate it was a home game for them, and you're never really expecting the home fans to make quite as much noise, although I would quote Thursday night as being a time when actually the home fans did make more noise than the away fans. But yeah, it was just ridiculous, the thing with the fans, and then a few other things as well. So the fact that the supporters around me who tried to bring flags in were apparently told that they weren't allowed to bring the flags in, and that just seemed ridiculous, and particularly when MK have a banner that says "The club that didn't die," which is offensive on so many levels. You just think, no, okay, the club that didn't die is the club that currently now plays at Plough Lane. Not this strange incarnation of Wimbledon that sort of like exists like Frankenstein's monster in the north of the county. And so, just don't, that banner is not needed. I completely appreciate that our friends up at MK, they now exist, but they don't have to keep harping on about actually what happened previously. But also then, we had the situation, beginning of the second half, the tunnel, you know how the tunnel comes out and then gets taken back in again? So tunnel comes out for the MK players, and as soon as the MK players are out on the pitch, it goes back in again. And you think, well, what on earth was that about? And also the watering of the pitch. So they carried on watering the pitch, only Wycombe's half, whilst Wycombe were actually out, ready to kick off. I've never ever seen that before, that actually when the players are there and the referee's there with the ball and the sprinklers are still going on. Just all of these little things just seemed a little bit strange and probably were little psychological digs. And it was so brilliant that it didn't work at all. And you do think the one person that you definitely do not want to be playing mind games against is Gareth Ainsworth, because he will always use it to his advantage, as it proved on Sunday.
And as you can imagine, he was pretty excited when speaking to Phil afterwards.
Gareth, we're going to Wembley again.
Come on! I'm so pleased, honestly.
And this time, these guys are coming with us.
They're coming with us, and they'll come 10 times what they had tonight. I'm so glad for those tonight. They were split up. We had MK were trying every sporting advantage, they called it, as they could. I think putting up there, actually, I think the acoustics were better. I think the roof made them even louder, and it was great. They really didn't stop singing the whole game. I was so pleased to be able to go over the end and say, thank you for sticking with us, thank you for sticking with me all these years. We're going back to Wembley. Third time, it's incredible, honestly. But listen, the boys were sensational tonight. We came with a plan to try and do what we did at our place. Very difficult, it was going to be a total different game. They were going to gamble a little bit more. They played Corbin, who I thought had a fantastic game down the right there, and really pinned us back. So after they scored, we changed to a deep press. We just went to, and at half time I got it into the boys that we wanted to go deeper. We wanted to deny all the space in our half. We've done it before. The last time we did it was Norwich in the Championship and almost got something out of that game. I told them, you can get something out of this game. We needed David Stockdale. We needed blocks aplenty. We needed people to stop crosses, but they were there. And when it counted, they stood up. There's so many games in my team, so much experience. So proud of them, and can't wait to go to Wembley.
Across the two legs, we've seen every facet of Wycombe Wanderers, haven't we?
Yeah, do you know what? I actually got calmer today as the game went on. I think you said that to me earlier, and a bit panicky at the start. Not panicky, I'm not panicking, I'm a manager, but a bit like, what's going on here? How do I change? I had about 4 different formations going through my head. Substitution changes, half-time, and then we work out just this deep press, and credit some of the players. They come on there and said, look, we're getting run, the gaps are here, and then I have to come up with a solution. But getting Dominic and Josh in front of that back four was key today to stop Twine, who is a fantastic player, to do what he does. Listen, I'm not going to stand here and say we're the better team tonight. MK Dons were the better team, but over the two legs, Wycombe were the better team, and that's proven by a 2-1 scoreline. And I can't believe we're going to Wembley. It's going to be amazing, and I'm so looking forward to it.
You've achieved some pretty unbelievable things for Wycombe Wanderers already. When that whistle went tonight, where does that rank in the feelings you've had?
It's right up there. It was a Wembley feeling against Oxford, because the relief almost as well, but there's no pressure. As I always say, I look the confidence in the face and just touched it and got away from it. We're never going to go back to that place. That was the biggest learning ever, and the most pressure I've ever felt in my life. This is not pressure. This is enjoyment. This is fun. This is something that we achieved together. I am so proud of those boys, and when that final whistle went, when we got the throw in there with 20 seconds to go, I knew that might be it. And like I say, we weren't the better team tonight. MK Dons played some real good stuff. They've got some fabulous players. Whether they keep hold of them or not, I don't know. Darling, Twine, they're going to go to big places and have great careers. But Jacobson, Stockdale, Akinfenwa, Volks, McCleary, they've had brilliant careers, and they've got another big game coming up. I can't wait to see the faces when we go to Wembley, the build up to Wembley. Everyone writing us off again, because we will be the underdogs as always. We could do this, and all those people who said, Wycombe, what the hell are they doing there? What a fluke, 1.74, all that sort of stuff. We're there on merit this time, proper merit. that was a brilliant defensive display, and the boys deserve their chance at Wembley.
A lot of defending going on the night as well. Richard Dobson, Gareth's assistant, also spoke to Phil.
It's funny, I was just referring back to the Fleetwood game. You know, we beat Fleetwood 4-1 and they come out firing at our place in the second leg, and I said to the staff the other day, you know, the game won't be done on the first leg, there'll still be plenty of football, and you know, when they got that goal after 20 odd minutes, you're thinking this is going to be a long night, but our boys dug in, they're warriors, they fight, and I mean, to a man, they were dead on their feet at the end, but the energy and the effort that they put in to protect that lead was outstanding, and I love every one of them.
That lead from Thursday night, the second goal, a beautifully worked goal, proved absolutely crucial across the two ties.
It's amazing, isn't it, how two games between the same teams can look so different. You know, we were terrific Thursday night. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Tonight we struggled in the game. You know, it became a real fight for us, but we got there. We got the job done, and that second goal the other night was crucial. You know, we needed to make that count and our dominance count, and we did. And fortunately for us, MK Dons couldn't do it to the same extent tonight.
Rolling back the years, Wycombe have had some incredibly famous cup displays. We'll talk about Filbert Street and Wimbledon away. This is right up there, and also the prize at the end of it, another trip to Wembley, but with the fans.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was gutted last time when they missed out, and you know, to go and do it again and to have them with us, they were brilliant tonight, weren't they? Absolutely brilliant. And just to take that moment of watching them celebrate up there with the players at the end of the game, and the togetherness is just fantastic at this club at the moment. It's a really, really great club to be at, and I'm so pleased for them that they got to witness that tonight. Unfortunately, there wasn't more of them here, because we'd have taken that whole end, I think, had we been able to. But for those that were with us tonight, I'm so glad they enjoyed it, and those at home, I hope they were dancing around their front rooms.
A really special occasion for fans to be at, similar to yourself, of course.
Yes, and I'm amazed that particularly Gareth said how much he enjoyed it, because goodness me, I don't think any of us really enjoyed it who were in the stands. I was standing there, particularly during the second half, just really wishing that actually I was watching it at home and that I could pause it on my Skybox and just go and make a cup of tea and just recover for a little bit. It was so tense. We were sort of counting down during the second half, counting down like every 5-minute block, and then towards the end sort of like every minute. And thank goodness, actually, there wasn't, considering it was Wycombe Wanderers, there wasn't too much additional time. You know, there was enough. And there was enough for, obviously, a few nervous moments. And goodness me, David Stockdale making that fantastic save right at the end. But yeah, when that final whistle went, it was absolutely just pandemonium in the stands. We were all, I think we all celebrated hard, but then also realised actually just how emotionally exhausted we were as well.
A few contenders for man of the match, but no surprises who got it.
Yeah, indeed. Completely deserved it.
David Stockdale speaking after the game.
We knew that we can withstand them, and our motto is all day long, so look, if we have to stand there and keep it out, we just try our best.
18 corners, the first one hit the bar. After that, it was a very good defensive unit. You were shaping that, shouting at them.
I always do, even if it's not a corner, so no, we go through it. I know it sounds like everyone says that we're just a one person team, as in how we go about things, but we work meticulously on these things, and that's what gets us results, and it's a results-based business. So
18 corners and not conceding a goal, that is incredible when you look at the stats across just the game tonight in 90 minutes.
Yeah, and we'll look back on it and say this is what we do. You know, we base ourselves on pride, and it hurt us that one went in because other than that, I mean, obviously they had chances, but it just felt like that was probably one of the easiest ones he had. So
there was a save in the second half from our press seats, at least, from Corbin, who absolutely top draw, and I was just pinching myself in. This guy's 36, but he's playing like he's 16.
Yeah, when you're with the older lads and you're an older statesman, I kept saying you have to actions speak louder than words sometimes, and I've got a lot of things to prove still, but I'm still learning, you know, at this age. So just to be able to stand up and do it on an important night is good personally, but I can't say that I did it all alone, because there was 10 lads that ran the hearts out, and then Wheels came on and Jack came on. That's what it is. We know we're a team. We know whoever comes on that bench will run the hearts out and block and defend. So I might have made 4 saves, 5 saves, but how many blocks, how many tackles, JJ's tackle, you know, so it shouldn't just go to me. That's a team effort.
Don't forget you can hear more of those interviews on Wanderers TV as well. And still to come between now and the end of the show, I've got a good chat with defender Jack Grimmer as well.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Still to come on the Wycombe Wanderers Show, we'll hear from Head of Media at the club, Matt Sassel, on some ticket news for the final. But first, our ex-player association slot this week is from someone who, well, is very appropriate for what's to come.
Indeed, yes, he has played for Wycombe Wanderers at a playoff final. He was one of the players who was there back in 2015 when, of course, it was slightly heartbreaking when we lost to Southend United, particularly because he was one of the players who missed a penalty. But we're not going to focus on that at all. So we are talking, of course, about the wonderful Sam Wood, who was at Wycombe for 5 years. He was Player of the Year in 2012. Also took the Goal of the Season award that year as well. I bumped into him at the game when we went down to Gillingham and said, would he be up for having a chat with us? And then we confirmed the arrangement last Thursday night because he was at the playoff semi-final first leg against MK Dons.
The boys done fantastic. Obviously, MK, good side. Obviously, they have been all season, and the performance there the boys put in, it was set themselves up perfectly for the second leg. So, obviously, with all the fans there, and obviously, I think it was a sellout as well on Thursday night. So it was nice to see it rocking. To be fair, and it was like I say, great team performance from the boys.
A great atmosphere at Adams Park as well. As you say, really great to see so many there.
Yeah, no, obviously, with the last playoffs, with COVID and stuff, they wasn't able to enjoy it as much, but seeing all the fans there, they was definitely the 12th man for the boys on Thursday night, and by the sounds of it, last night, they were there again, even though there was not a lot of them there, but it was a huge voice for all the boys, and I think that spurred them on a little bit more, to be fair.
And it was really nice when you get to see ex-players come to games as well, and I'm sure many of your former teammates and other past eras as well come to the games too, but it must be really nice to catch up with other players as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. Obviously, I don't get much of a chance to get over because obviously I still play myself, so I'm always playing Saturdays and Tuesday nights myself, and my season managed to finish a little bit earlier, so it's worked in well for me to, like I say, come and watch the boys. Obviously, I think there's still about 6 or 7 there who I know from when I was there. And obviously Blooms, the Gaffer and Dobbo and things like that. So, it's great to catch up with them and obviously see the performance that I did on Thursday night. And I think there was a few others there, Alfie Mawson and Aaron Pierre. So that's what Wycombe does. The recruitment, what Gareth does is fantastic. Like the boys that gets in, and you all become like a little family, and it shows with all the boys going back and watching. So.
And did it really take you back to your playoff experience of 2015 as well?
Oh, definitely. It's obviously a good way to obviously get promoted. Unfortunately, it didn't work out too well for me, but hopefully they can enjoy it once again with the fans being there this year.
Perhaps you can give us an insight though into what it's like for the build-up as well and the preparation for a playoff final.
Not much really. Not much. It's another game. So you just kind of obviously there is a little bit of nervous, obviously it's the occasion, but you just go about doing your normal routines, having your pre-matches and doing what you normally do for a league game, really. Obviously, there is that added stuff, the press and all that, but I think a lot of boys are used to it now. And, it's just, like I say, it's another game and you just want to prepare the best you can, like you do every week in, week out for a league game.
Because I think for fans, the playoffs seem such a lottery, don't they? But Wycombe have got such a decent record in them of late.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like you say, it's a one-game playoff now for them, so you never know what's going to happen. And hopefully it works in Wycombe's favour. And obviously, I think they've got the players, and they're a big game team, really, when you look at it. And hopefully this is another big game, and they can produce the goods.
Yeah, it'll be so great to have supporters at Wembley, especially after 2020, when fans weren't allowed because of the pandemic.
Yeah, no, of course. Obviously, it's going to be a big factor, I think, and obviously just for the Wycombe fans. Being like not a bigger team, as they're saying, it was Sunderland and Sheffield Wednesday, but I think the whole town's going to get behind them, and obviously they missed out on the last playoffs, so I think they're going to come in numbers this year, and it's going to be a fantastic atmosphere and so enjoyable for the club and the fans and the community, really, so I'm looking forward to it.
And just going back to your own time at the club, what's your sort of earliest memories of when you started?
I was travelling in at the time, so obviously from where I live in Kent, and Gareth said to me, like, you need to move up, so I moved closer and into Wycombe. So, and obviously just walking around town and things like that, everyone was so polite and welcoming, and it was fantastic. The fans there are brilliant. Probably one of the best I've played with, really. So, and it's just, everyone's just so, obviously I've been to a few of the games, everyone's like just happy to see you and so polite, and yeah, it's just a great atmosphere all around the club and the community.
And you've got your own song as well, of course.
Yeah, well, I did have. I think the other, Sammy Vokes, has took it now, but I let him have that one. He played a little bit higher than me, but no, it's fantastic. So, it's nice to have a little song when you go back and the fans sing it and things like that. It does put a big smile on my face and makes me feel appreciated. So, when you got a little song, it feels like you give, when I was playing from give the fans something on the pitch, so having a little song is a little nice little gesture for me.
We mentioned the playoff final, but were there any other particular games or occasions that really stand out during your time at the club?
Well, obviously I scored a few goals. That was all. I never scored a tackle really, so I think the fans enjoyed that, and it was I just enjoyed my whole time at Wycombe. I really did. It was a fantastic time for me. Obviously, with the talk, it was a lot of ups and downs, as it always is at Wycombe. Obviously, going really from relegation and then obviously into the playoffs and things like that. But I think going to Tottenham was massive. Like the fans there, and obviously taking Tottenham at White Hart Lane to the 96th minute and being in the game and stuff like that. The fans there were incredible again. So I think the Tottenham game was a big standout.
And when you were playing, did you get a sense that the team was really progressing as well?
Oh, definitely. Obviously, like I said, from Gareth taking over and getting relegated, and then obviously the next year going to Wembley, it's just like, it was always going to go on the up. And obviously it showed, and it has. So I'm so happy for, obviously, Gareth and Dobbo, all the work they put in over the years, and it's paid off, and hopefully it carries on.
And obviously, speaking to Gareth, his optimism and motivation really comes across. That must be something that really he employs in the dressing room as well.
Oh, yeah, he's a motivator. No doubt about that. You can't do anything wrong with Gareth. If you shoot from, 40, 30 yards and it goes over, he's like he buzzes off it, gets the crowd going, and he tells you to do it again. Do you know what I mean? You just keep doing what you're doing and things will pay off, and he's good at that. He's management, getting people up for games and things like that. You can't do, like I said, you can't do nothing wrong. So it's always going to give you confidence going into games when your manager backs you. So yeah, that's why they're doing so well.
That was a great quote from Bayo after the MK game, just saying that it's a club which enables you to be unapologetically yourself, which it must be something that you found as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's what it does. He just says go and be yourself. That's why he gets you in. You know what kind of player you are. It doesn't try and change you, gets behind you, gives you confidence, and you just go and express yourself, and that's what you want to do when you're a footballer. So there's always, with his recruitment, there's methods behind it, and obviously that shows, and he just wants you to go and cross it.
So for fans that don't know, tell us a bit about what happened to you after you left the club. As you say, you're still playing today?
Yeah, just about. Yes, I left the club, went to Italy, and I went back to my old club, Bromley. I went to Diva, and then I just left over in February to go back to where I first started, a team called Wycombe Wanderers. They're in the Isthmian Premier League. So obviously I work for the chairman now, and they wanted me to come back, and and I thought it was the right thing for me to do. And it's been good, and I'm looking forward towards next season.
Great to chat to Sammy Wood.
The mobile phone reception in Kent isn't that great, is it? Wycombe Wanderers is where he is at the moment. Before that, it was Dover Athletic, Bromley and Eastleigh.
Yes, that was where it cut out a bit.
I was just going to say, in case you were trying to work out which clubs he was at.
So Tuesday, the tickets went on sale for the final.
They did.
Matt joined us on mid-mornings to fill us in, if that's the right expression.
Well, it all started a few weeks ago, really. Wembley and the EFL get in touch with any club that is within a shout of getting to the playoffs, and you start going through the motions of, forecasting ticket sales. Here are some processes. Here's what you need to be aware of, because as soon as you're in those playoffs, the work starts straight away. I have to really credit our ticket office, headed up by Ben Griffiths, who, would you believe, tested positive for COVID on Sunday. And he's had a really rough few days of illness. He's been at home working like an absolute Trojan. His team have done a phenomenal job. He was sat next to me at Burton after full time, away to my right hand side, just frantically getting the ticketing website up and running, so we're able to sell tickets for the playoffs at 6:00 that evening. That process was very smooth. Huge sellout crowd at Adams Park. Obviously, we sold out the away end at MK and could have sold many more. So lots of meetings back and forth with Wembley. And what was really pleasing for us about the Wembley final is us being able to control and take control of the ticketing process. And quite often they advise, or clubs go to Ticketmaster or some of the big national agencies that work with Wembley, and the supporters have to go through those channels. Quite often those are more expensive in terms of the booking fees. They're unfamiliar to supporters because they've not used those systems before. We are using our Wycombe Wanderers ticketing website to sell tickets for this game. You can choose your seat. If you've already got an account, you just log in, choose your seat, pay for it, and away you go. It's digital ticketing. We don't need to worry about posting and collecting. You get your ticket through on your email and your smartphone, and you just show that when you get to Wembley. Sounds straightforward, sounds easy, and it is really easy for the supporter. But trust me, so much hard work has gone into the back end of making this possible. A lot of going back and forth with Wembley. They have to approve the processes, as they do with Sunderland as well. We're delighted to be underway with sales. And, for us, the big thing is let's get tickets sold early. The more tickets we sell early, the more chance we have of increasing our allocation beyond 19,000 and getting us up to the next level, which would be 28,000. We want as big a crowd as possible. We know Sunderland are going to have a huge crowd. We know the size of their club and what a fantastic club it is for us to be going head-to-head with at Wembley. Wycombe fans need to buy early and encourage those friends, families, neighbours, colleagues, teammates, the guy down the post office, the milkman, anyone, come along to Wembley. Let's leave High Wycombe deserted for a day. Let's have a great day out and make this a real special day for the town to remember for years and years to come.
So there are 3 phases for people to be able to get tickets.
That's right. Yeah, we are underway with phase 1 this morning. These are for season ticket holders and also those fans that waived their refund. We had a huge wave of generosity last year when fans bought a season ticket, weren't able to come to Adams Park because of the pandemic, and so many supporters waived their entitlement to a refund. And we said, thank you so much. We will give you priority access wherever we can. So those supporters and season ticket holders are able to buy now. They can buy up to 6 tickets each. A lot of questions about what if I want to buy more than 6? Just team up with another season ticket holder, go online at the same time, get on the phone to them and just say, which seats are you choosing? And let's choose seats next to them as well, just so we can have big group bookings. And a lot of people are managing that successfully. So it's season ticket holders now for phase 1. And then on Friday at 10 a.m, any supporter who has a ticket history on our ticketing website from last season into this season, which is about 18,000 email addresses. So it's 18,000 people on Friday morning will be able to go on and buy up to 6 tickets each. And that is where we expect the biggest wave, because these are all people that don't have a season ticket but have been to 1, 2, 10, 12, 20 games this season, and will, of course, want to be at Wembley and bring in friends and family. So Friday is going to be a huge day in terms of ticket sales, but we're underway with phase 1, and so far so good.
So give us an idea of when the sort of general public, if you like, can get tickets as well.
So Monday morning at 10 a.m. is phase 3. And this is for those fans that haven't had a ticket history with us, that haven't previously had an account. They will still need to create an account, which is really easy when you go to the ticketing website. You can go on and buy up to 2 tickets each. Now, that may sound a bit stingy, but you can understand Wembley processes require clubs to try and put limits on potential ticketing touts and also potentially opposition fans getting into home areas, certainly in big numbers. So that's why there's a limit on 2 per user on Monday. So 6 per season ticket holder at the moment, 6 per account holder on Friday, and then general sale is 2 per person as of Monday morning.
And fans will have seen a message from the chairman on the website as well, and which may have been sort of interpreted slightly differently than how it was intended. Yeah,
Rob is a fantastic beacon of energy, and he's flown back to the States. He left shortly after the MK second leg game. Of course, he'll be back over for the final. He has various business matters to attend to back in the States, but he keeps in close contact with us, and rightly so. He is so proud and so excited this opportunity for Wycombe Wanderers to put themselves on the map yet again, to make a noise and to showcase what we're all about and going to Wembley. And, there's been a rallying cry from him, and it's to Wycombe Wanderers supporters. Okay, let's remember this message is to Wycombe Wanderers supporters to get to Wembley. We're playing a club of huge stature in Sunderland, former Premier League club. Look at the number of fans that they get. Look at the atmosphere they generate. Look at the scenes. Was it 3 years ago they got to Wembley and played Charlton? They took over London the night before. They were in Trafalgar Square having parties. This is a huge club with a massive fan base. And the chairman has put out a message saying to Wycombe Wanderers fans, what can we do to stand shoulder to shoulder with this massive club? Let's generate all the noise. Let's get as many people down to Wembley as possible, because we're taking on a huge club. And I think there's the reference in it to, there's a Netflix show about Sunderland that shows the stature of the club. They're not making Netflix shows about small teams. They're making Netflix shows about huge clubs with really passionate fan bases and interesting stories. And that's a mark of who they are. So if it was interpreted as a dig at Sunderland, it was absolutely not intended that way. I know the intentions of Rob and what he was trying to get across to Wycombe Wanderers fans. Let's all puff out our chests, stand tall, and go to Wembley with as many fans as we possible, make as much noise. They're a fantastic opponent, full of respect, mutual respect between the managers, the players, and the supporters as well. We can't wait to be there. And, trust me, the chairman is so excited to be leading this club and to have such passionate support. And he will be amongst you wanting to make sure that Wycombe Wanderers are loud and proud at Wembley Stadium.
And you were saying as well how easy the process is for getting tickets.
Yes, so I bought my tickets yesterday, and it was a very, very straightforward and easy process. I was very impressed because I have bought tickets for such events previously and concerts at Wembley and whatever, and sometimes it is a real pain, and you do get the impression that everyone's trying to buy them at the same time, and websites crash and things like that. Nothing like that at all. And the fact that the club are actually selling them themselves, they haven't gone to an external agency, which I've seen other clubs do previously. Really, really impressive. It was a very, very easy and smooth process, and I can thoroughly recommend it. So if you are one of those people who is on their ticketing database but isn't a season ticket holder, isn't a subscriber, then definitely make sure that you get your ticket tomorrow morning. And then if you're not one of those people, you can get your tickets on Monday. We want as many Wycombe Wanderers fans there as possible, because as Matt says, we know that Sunderland are going to bring absolutely masses of fans. So the more people that can be there in the light and dark blue quarters, the better.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Quite looking forward to next week's show already, as we build up to what we can only term the League One playoff final between Wycombe Wanderers and Sunderland.
We hope to have a longer than normal interview with Gareth Ainsworth.
Oh.
We hope so. Goes without saying, he's going to be quite busy next week, but we hope to be one of those who are granted an extended interview with him.
As many football fans say, it's the hope that kills you.
Indeed, that's so true. Yes, but at least that wasn't the case on Sunday.
No. Talking of extended interviews, on Tuesday, the morning after the other semi-final, shall we call it?
Oh, yes.
I got to catch up with defender Jack Grimmer, who, if you're wondering how footballers spend their Tuesday mornings after another playoff semi-final, here's the answer.
I've just been sitting looking back through photos and videos, and, nowadays everything is sort of caught on camera, which is, it makes looking back over the memories so special. And, I think to achieve it with this club and this group of players, it's such a special, bond that we have. And the manager alluded to it before, the Wycombe brothers, and it does almost feel like at times, because, everyone gets on so well and there's no sort of little groups and things. And, to achieve it with that kind of group, it definitely makes it, that little bit more special.
And often in games you think, this player did well, but literally every member of the team really contributed, didn't they?
Yeah, you're right. The gaffer alluded to it as well before the game about what is your part that you are playing. And, that isn't just the starting 11, that's the players on the bench and the players that are in the stand watching. Everyone has their part to play. And I do think that was one of the most important things during the last promotion, that everyone did have their part to play and played it very well. So I think everyone's really doing their bit, and like you say, everyone sort of, especially, not taking anything away from the players that were on the pitch, because they definitely stood up to the task, and every single one of them performed out of their skin.
How did you feel going into the game? Because I'd heard people say 2-0 is quite a sort of dangerous scoreline, really.
It is, yeah, it really is. And we did kind of know that it's never going to be a good idea to sit back and just try to defend a 2-goal lead. But MK, all credit to them, are a very, very good side, and that's why they finished where they did. But thankfully we are very good at sitting in and defending, and it just worked out like that. That was probably not our game plan, but they managed to pin us in really well. And I thought on the night that they played extremely well, and it really took a lot of us to dig deep and throw our bodies on the line. And Stocko in goal was just incredible at times. So we did what we needed to do, and thankfully managed to get over the line.
Obviously, I guess in a way they had to, but they played very differently, didn't they? It was a very different approach for them from Thursday at Adams Park.
Yeah, it was. I think they managed to impose their game a lot more than they did at Adams Park. I think the crowd and the pitch and us being at home really worked to our advantage, whereas I just think they looked a lot more comfortable being at home in front of their own fans, and it was always going to be that way. And it was just what we did to kind of try our best to counteract that. And we knew it was going to be a difficult game, having played them twice already that season and lost twice. I think we were under no illusions that it was going to be a massive task to, even with the 2-goal lead. They've got very dangerous players that scored a lot of goals this season. But we knew that, one thing that we're very, very good at is when the going gets tough, we get together and we grind out results. And I think we showed that in the last playoff run 2 years ago, that the cup final was the same. Oxford were a very good team, but we managed to dig deep and, really came together as a team.
And I think certainly watching it, did you feel as players as well that, the clock was sort of ticking down and you felt that, they were running out of time really to sort of get something out of the game? Yeah, you're right. I think it was it obviously was an awkward one with the timing of their goal. There was a lot of minutes left on the clock. And I'm sure they were thinking, that we've gotten the first goal, which is the first task, and now we've got plenty of time to get the second. But, the way the game unfolded, we just unfortunately didn't manage to impose ourselves on them as much as we'd have probably liked going the other way. But, we did our work in the first leg, which is, and all credit to them, they did, really come out and throw everything at us in that game. But I just feel like we had already done our work in the first leg and we'd gotten the 2 goals that we needed. And I've seen that the stats do show just how dominant MK were, but ultimately, it's over 2 legs, and I feel that we had, done a really good job in the first leg, keeping the clean sheet as well, and in getting the 2-goal lead, which, inevitably was the defining factor that we managed to get us over the line. And so pleasing for yourself to come on when you did and have a real impact on the game.
Yeah, it was. It's good doing your bit on the bench, but I don't think you can quite compare that feeling to actually being on the pitch and, running the hard yards and, winning the headers and the tackles and really fighting for the cause. So to be able to get that sort of input in the last few minutes and just kind of shore up the defence was a great feeling. And I think I was one of the few players that had the energy to run the length of the pitch and celebrate with the fans when the final whistle went, which was a great feeling.
That was really special, those scenes at the end, and you must have great memories of that, and sort of having that and the celebrating with the fans and the team, as you say.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was interesting because when I was on the bench, I think I'd chewed away all my nails because I was that nervous and wanting the boys to do well. And then as soon as you go on, there was an element of calmness because you kind of know what you have to do and you're focused on what you have to do. And I also wanted to instill that into the team, which I thought we were very good at. I thought everyone remained calm and didn't get too ahead of themselves at any point in the game, which is, a sort of real sort of show of how good we are at doing that. But the scenes at full time, the great memories, to be honest. And I think it just shows you how much the fans have an impact on us. No one wanted to leave the pitch after the game because it just felt it was such a special moment getting to share it with the fans after all this time. 2 years ago, there was no one there. So it was a truly special moment.
I'm really interested in hearing you say that, the work was done in the first leg, which is sort of a carbon copy, if you like, of the game against Fleetwood, where it was such a fantastic start to the playoff semi-finals, and it really felt that, that was the great kind of foundation that you need ahead of the second game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, it was quite similar to we didn't quite blow MK away as much as we did Fleetwood. But you're right, the game is over 2 legs, and I think if you can do the work early on, you give yourself, really something to fight for. And you see last night, Sunderland did the same. They almost did the work in the first time leg, and then they had that goal to fall back on when they conceded, and it just shows you getting the work in early. I think is it does really help you in the long run. Having said that, if we'd have drawn or lost the first leg, I still really fancied this group of players to go and get something out of the game. But you can only play, what the game gives you. So, yeah, I think we were very aware of the work that we'd put in the first leg. And I think the way that the game had unfolded, we knew that they'd be nervous of how well we can dig in at times. That proved the case.
And obviously the team's experience must really count for something. Obviously having been there in 2020, and you yourself, of course, have great experience of being at Wembley as well.
Yeah, it was an interesting one because the gaffer, just before the game, asked the whole changing room, can you please stand up if you've been involved in the playoffs previously at any club or at any level? And I would say a good 90% of the squad stood up. And I think it just shows you the experience that we have. And he alluded to the fact that the other teams, will not have as much experience as us, which is, true. And it proved to be that way against MK. I think experience came into it in the end. So I think you're right. We do have experiences to draw on, and having been at Wembley before in a packed stadium, hopefully I can pass on some good information and experience and advice to some of the other boys that'll help them on the day.
Does it feel like a real pressure occasion, or do you just block all that out? And it sounds like a cliche, doesn't it? But is it just another game?
I know. I think it's funny that actually, because I think the cliche saying is, it's just another game. 3:00 kickoff. It's just like a league game, but for a fact it's not. And I think you can't really hide away from the fact, because your body just tends to react differently, because your body itself knows this is not another game. No matter how much your mind might try to tell yourself that. I think you have to embrace it. I think you have to stand up to it with your chest out. And, I think there is teams that maybe go to Wembley previously that haven't, almost managed to do that. And I think that's, maybe why they've ended up on the bad side of the result. But I think as a team and the togetherness that we have, I'm sure everyone will be together and, really looking forward to it. I think that's the main thing, is you have to look forward to this challenge.
And obviously motivation won't be an issue, but is there an extra kind of drive to want to do it for the fans? Obviously, because supporters couldn't make it to Wembley the last time, and indeed see many championship games either.
Yeah, you're spot on. You're absolutely spot on. I think, even seeing the fans on Sunday night, I've never heard them sing so much for so little. I think it's safe to say the stats, back up this point, that we got battered for the full game, and I never heard them stop singing, which I don't think they realise how important that was for us, just to keep us ticking over and to give back to them in some way, especially after the last time. I mean, the first time the club's in the Championship, there's no fans allowed, is just terrible timing. So to do it again this time with the fans there, I think for the players as much as the fans, I think everyone's just really wanting it.
And do you as players notice, if that's the right word, how sort of well things are going, like at the season, or are you kind of so focused? Because it feels like, they, obviously in January, I think it was the top of the table for a period, but always been challenging in the top six throughout the whole campaign, really.
Yeah, I think, at the beginning of the season, we never shied away from the fact that we did want promotion, and promotion was our aim. Maybe some other teams kind of be like, we'll take top six, or we'll have a go at it. But we as players, after the way we finished last season, sort of said to each other, listen, we want to get promoted this season. And I think it's good when that sort of pressure comes from within the changing room, instead of, maybe with the teams like Sunderland and Sheffield Wednesday, that pressure's placed on them by the fans or by the media. And I think, we did play, I think it was MK Dons when we went into the home tie in the league. We were top of the league at that point. And then we went through a phase of not, just managing to win for 7 games, which the league is so tough that that'll kill your season. And, that's the way it proved for us in regards to getting the top 2. But we then said that if we then had a strong finish to the season, that we could get back in the playoffs and we would be the form team that no one wanted, and that's the way it's proved.
It's fantastic, isn't it? Because there was that period where, there's 7 games without a win, but now, 12 unbeaten, and there seems to be so many positives in that, the amount of, less amount of goals conceded, the amount of shots that you have during games, and just things like, different styles of play that you can adapt to as well.
Yeah, you're spot on. I think we consciously made a choice and a change right after the Accrington Stanley game, and just before that little run came to an end against Cambridge when we won at home 3-0, that we changed little elements of the way that we were playing, and we worked on a few different things in training, and then we literally just hit the ground running from there on in. And like you said, 12 unbeaten. And if we kept the run going, we knew we'd hit form at the right time. And going into the playoffs, we are the form team probably in the league. And, but having said that, every team finished strongly. That's just the way the league was this season. It was such a competitive league. But yeah, we've finished the season strongly. And like you say, I think that feel-good factor of being unbeaten for 12 games has really carried us through.
And does it really feel that you've taken your experience from playing in the Championship into the season, which will really stand you in good stead for the final and hopefully going back?
Yeah, I think it has. I think especially the way we finished last season was so important. I think, if we'd finished last season the way we started last season, having lost 6 or 7 games on the bounce, I think it would have been a different start to this season. But I felt like we really took the good form from last season into this year, and that kind of gave us our own expectancy that we wanted to do well and we wanted to get promoted. And, the feel-good factor was already there because we were so close to staying up. There was no negativity coming into this season. And I think that's, like you said there, that we have been challenging the top 6 all season. And I think that, that's a credit to the gaffer and the staff and all the players and just everyone associated with the club that, apart from that maybe 7-game streak, we've been relentless throughout the season. And that's why inevitably you find yourself at Wembley with a chance of getting back to the Championship. When you mentioned the manager, it must be a real good reaping of the rewards, the motivation and the positivity that he brings to the group as well, and his management team, of course. Yeah, it was a really interesting one for me seeing him last season, actually, because I think it's great being positive and it's easier being positive when you're winning every week. But I think he actually really showed me how positive he was last season when things were not going well and we were getting beat every other week because it was such a challenging league, and the positivity just never left him. And I think that just now everyone knows just what he's about and how positive he is, and that just oozes throughout the squad. And like I said previously, he kind of goes on about how every player in the squad has a part to play, and I do truly believe that, and I'm learning that more now that I'm out of the team than when I was in the team. You still sort of feel important and you still feel part of the squad, and it is a squad game. And I think that's been one of the best things that he's got right this season was, the whole squad just feels together. And going into the final, do you as players feel the real kind of wave of support which seems to be gathering from, both obviously fans at the ground but also in the town generally as well? Yeah, definitely. I think that is it's obviously the excitement building for the fact that we're at Wembley, but the fact that everyone was watching from, probably the comfort of their own home during the last playoff final, I think there is that added bit of excitement. I think the fans were desperate, to be there with us the last time around. So the fact that we're able to give back to them through 2 years of cheering us on from, basically their living rooms is just a great feeling, to be honest with you. It's as players, you obviously want to play at Wembley, but it's that added factor that the fans will be back and we're able to give them that day out that they, so sorely missed last time. So what will preparations be like for the final, or is it just another game? It's a difficult one because you're obviously on cloud 9 on Sunday, and then I think I mentioned before about I think everyone afterwards was just sort of, the fans and everyone's probably the same. You just kind of felt emotionally spent. I think everyone had put so much into the game that, thankfully the gaffer had given us a few days off to just recover and spend time with your family and friends and, just kind of rest up and recharge a little bit. But there's plenty of time to work towards the game and work on our game plan for Sunderland because, I think it's 13 days between the second leg and then the final. So there's plenty of time to recharge the batteries and then, get in and do the work. But, it literally is another, as much as the expectancy around the game is there, you still have to do the same things, prepare the same way, and which will no doubt do. The gaffer will give us our game plan and, we'll work on that in the training ground, and then before you know it, hopefully we'll be at Wembley and it'll be a great day. Really fantastic to hear from Jack.
Absolutely fantastic. Really, really nice long interview. In fact, so long that actually we haven't even really got time to say goodbye.